Lepore, that's the perfect segue now into our final topic of the show, the Lightning and Habs meeting in the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah.
And, you look at the betting odds. Obviously, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the favorites to win the Cup. They're the defending Stanley Cup champions looking to repeat. But you go over everything that we just talked about. They have the star power up front and on the blue line. You have Andrei Vasilevsky, who's playing better than Carey Price in the playoffs right now. Andrei Vasilevsky has a .936 save percentage and 4 shutouts. Both of those lead the playoffs right now. He is playing out of his mind. He is the favorite right now, the betting favorite to win the Conn Smythe. And you just look at their ability to win games in different ways and how they can adapt to any style, like I just talked about. This is a complete team. So you know what? If the Montreal Canadiens end up beating Tampa Bay, like you said, Lepore, I'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Congratulations. But this team is an absolute beast. And you know what? We're going to reach a point here where something's got to give. And I've mentioned this now several times on the podcast. The Montreal Canadiens have the #1 penalty kill in NHL playoff history.
This is going to be the new, it's a new take a shot game. How often Bruno brings up that stat.
It's unbelievable. The best penalty kill in playoff history among teams that have played 15 games in a single postseason. But saying that, the Tampa Bay Lightning roll into the Stanley Cup Final with a 38% power play.
So is that sustainable?
38%. Yeah. So both of these are not sustainable. Something has got to give here. The Habs have gone 2 straight series without giving up a power play goal. So, Lepore, man, what's your take on this series, Habs and Lightning?
I think we are going to get a classic. I think we are going to get a good, long series. One thing I will say about the Lightning is that I cannot see what happened to Vegas in that previous series happen to them. And I'm referring to what I said before as how I think Vegas took the Habs lightly. This Lightning team will not take the Habs lightly. They've been around. They've been through a lot together. We talk about like how they were swept by Columbus. I think a lot jumped out at me with how they handled Game 7. Here you have this high stress situation where they lose Game 6 on a turnover in overtime in the Islanders building, and all this pressure is on them to go back home and win Game 7. And it's funny for me, like I always feel I think a little different than most people when it comes to Game 7s. I almost feel like if I was a player, I'd rather be the road team. Like I always feel like going into that building, going nuts, like almost like the expectation to come out at 100 miles an hour, lay hits, score early, like may get to me. Whereas if you're the away team, you just go in there, dialed in. Obviously, you're the underdog, is typically like the home team's favorite to win. And just how Tampa came out in that game. If I remember correctly, the shots after two periods were like 25-11 or like 27-11 in favor
Tampa
of the Lightning.
Was crushing them.
Yeah, like the Islanders look like nothing. So that stuff like that jumps out to me a lot, where you have this Tampa team that says like, this is the moment and we're going to bury you. I mean, it was a weird game. Like they won 1-0 on a shorthanded goal, but just how like they outplayed the Islanders for such a large portion of that game. And the Islanders came out in the third and did get some chances. But I think we are going to get an absolute classic. I think we have the best team in the league versus a team that really and truly believes in themselves right now and believes in what they're doing. I believe in the whole culture thing too. People get behind a crowd. They get behind like the feelings that exist in Montreal right now, the vibes, the buzz of that city. If I make a prediction here, we're going to do predictions yet. We're going to predictions.
Yeah, you can go for it, man.
I will say the Tampa Bay Lightning win the 2021 Stanley Cup in 7 games. Wow. I say Lightning in 7 is in a low scoring, grinded out Game 7. Tampa comes out maybe one shot ahead. I think we're going to get a good one, man. Like as these playoffs have gone on, I've gained a lot of respect for the Montreal Canadiens. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I think their belief in what they're doing is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And whether it's sustainable or not, with regard to the metrics they're putting up, we'll find out. Or it's going to keep going and whatever. Like how you said, something's got to give. Like, yeah, like Tampa Bay. What, Thursday, 38%, you said?
Just on 37.7% on the power play in this year's playoffs.
Yeah. So someone would say, like, well, that's not sustainable as well. Like, just as unsustainable as Montreal's penalty kill. So we'll see. Maybe just both sides kind of putter down to what we see as normality, and then it looks kind of basic as the playoffs roll down. But as a neutral hockey fan on this one, I am really and truly excited for a series that I think people are going to talk about for a long time. I think it's going to be a good one. I do think, and like I said this about the Vegas series, and I was dead wrong. Game 1 is so important for Montreal. So important because, like, let's face it, they are playing a team that is on paper better than them. So if they fail to get a win in game 1, to have to win the series 4-2 from then on, that's a tough ask for Montreal. And it's like to the point where, like, Tampa, even up 1-0, they're not going to get cocky. Like, this team is not going to get cocky, and they just have too many weapons. So, like, you only need a couple of guys to show up every game. Like, they have that kind of star power. And I'm old school. Like, when I pick a team to win a series, who are their best players? That's how I look at it. And that's why I said before that had it been Vegas versus the Lightning, I would have picked the Lightning. Because I would have said I think their players are better than Vegas's best players. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Sit back, enjoy the show. Tampa Bay Lightning, 7 games.
Yeah, I like that prediction, Lepore. And before I give my official prediction, I'm just going to say it would be completely foolish at this point to count out the Montreal Canadiens.
I was going to make that point. Like, at some point now, they have a chance. Like, yeah. We have to stop saying they have no chance.
Exactly. And we've gone through, the whole playoffs, trying to find ways and explain how Montreal is doing what they're doing. And we were chalking it up to a bunch of different factors. And we thought that they were going to lose every series this entire playoff run. But what they've done, or what they did against the Vegas Golden Knights, was super impressive. And that made me become a believer in what they're doing. As much as they, have that outlier stat with the penalty kill, and as great as Carey Price has been playing, and we like to bring that up all the time. Like, this team is on this run because of their goalie. And honestly, you really could simplify that in a way also with this Habs team. That Carey Price, let's not kid ourselves here. He's been the MVP of this team. Yeah. He has a .934 save percentage in the playoffs. He has come up big game after game. Every big moment when that team needs a save, Carey Price is there. And he has looked so comfortable. He really is playing the best hockey of his career, or at least the best that I've seen him play in recent memory. Yeah. I mean, you go back to the gold medals and, some of the other runs he had. Didn't Carey Price win the Hart Trophy one year?
I think he did.
It was one year where he was just unbelievable. He won the Vezina. I believe he won the Hart Trophy. I could be wrong.
I'll look it up.
But, I think back to those seasons that Carey Price had, and the way he's playing right now has just been absolutely off the charts. And, you add in the fact that Cole Caulfield is giving them that game-breaking ability, something that they really didn't have throughout the regular season. As good as Tyler Toffoli was, and I know Tyler Toffoli has 5 goals in the playoffs right now, but he hasn't looked nearly as dangerous as he did in the regular season. Like, Cole Caulfield, he's that dude right now. He's their guy where when they need something to happen, when they need to create offense, it's Cole Caulfield, it's Nick Suzuki, and those are the guys that are making plays happen. Now, can Josh Anderson catch lightning in a bottle and come down the wing and snipe one? Yes. But he hasn't been nearly as consistent in terms of generating chances as those two young studs have been throughout the playoffs. So, yeah, I think at this point, it would be extremely foolish to count out the Montreal Canadiens. But saying all that, this Tampa Bay Lightning team is unbelievable. And like you said, Lepore, they are absolutely not going to take the Habs lightly. This is a team that got swept in the first round in 2019 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is a team that's been through a lot of shit together. They've had disappointments. They've had triumphs. They've been through it all, this Tampa Bay Lightning team under head coach John Cooper. This is a team that has star power for days. Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, who's having another unbelievable playoffs. What is he up to now, Braden Point? Let me check this out. He's got 14 goals in 18 games in the playoffs. He has 6 more goals than the guys that are tied for second in goal scoring in this year's playoffs. He's been ridiculous. And you go down, you look at even guys like Yanni Gourde, Andre Palat, Anthony Cirelli, Steven Stamkos, who at this point isn't even like one of their like
secondary scorers. Steven Stamkos,
he's almost like a role player on this team, which is crazy to say because
65 goal scorers. Steven Stamkos
is unbelievable because he has been productive in the playoffs. He has 17 points in 18 games, but he's not even viewed in the same light anymore as guys like Kucherov and Point. And then you look at even like Alex Killorn, 17 points in 18 games. They have 5 of the top 6 leading scorers in this year's playoffs. And on top of that, they're the number 2 ranked defense. They've allowed a shade over 2 goals a game, 2.06 goals per game in this year's playoffs. Now, the Habs are right behind them. They've allowed 2.18 goals per game. So both of these teams, obviously very stout defensively. And then you look at Andrei Vasilevsky, who I mentioned, who's having a better postseason than Carey Price. As great as Carey Price has been, Vasilevsky has been even better than number 31. So I look at this Lightning team. They have no holes. They have the experience. They can play any style possible. You want to muck it up and play like the Islanders did? No problem. Tampa Bay can do that. You want to get into a run and gun game with Tampa Bay? No problem. They have all this star power and all this talent. And then you add in John Cooper, who you want to talk about the best coach in the NHL? He's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy always presses the right buttons. He's been awesome. I mean, there's a reason the Tampa Bay Lightning under John Cooper have the best record in the National Hockey League over the last, whatever it's been, 6 or 7 seasons.
See how confident he was after game 6? Like he just had the right demeanor. I should think he wasn't arrogant. He wasn't cocky, just had the right confident demeanor. I really liked it.
Oh, absolutely. Because he knows exactly what this team is made of. And, you know, we talked about how Montreal sticks to their identity. This Lightning team, they stick to their identity as well. They know exactly what they are. They know exactly what they're capable of. So I just have a very difficult time seeing Montreal beating this team 4 out of 7 games. I really do. And, you know, I've talked about this before with the New York Islanders in the past. It's like, what's the ceiling for a team that's built like that? A team that plays a great defensive structure and has good depth, but is lacking that star talent. What's the ceiling? And listen, the Habs have made it to the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah.
But can they beat a team that's this much better than them on paper, that's this much more talented than them? Like, I didn't even mention Victor Hedman and Ryan McDonough and Mikhail Sergachev on defense.
Yeah.
Like, this team is loaded from top to bottom. So I think this is going to be a very tough task for Montreal. I think everything is going to have to go their way in this series if they're going to win. Like, I think Carey Price, I mean, it goes without saying, is going to have to play out of his mind. And my official prediction for this series, Lepore, is Lightning in 6 to repeat as Stanley Cup champions.
Okay. So 6 and 7. It's going to be awesome, man. And you were right, by the way. Price won the Hart Trophy in 2015. So Anthony Bruno, Carey Price Encyclopedia.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like his I think he had like a 930 something save percentage that year, and it's essentially
he won the Jennings, the Hart, the Vezina, all that.
Yeah,
if you win the Hart, you're winning. I guess you're winning everything. Yeah,
and he's doing the same thing right now in the playoffs. And